101 review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's the founder of Mint Aid, the world's first website with all the groups helping people with mental illness. No other than Mr. Matthew Dickson.
Thanks for having
Well,
me on. I really appreciate this.
welcome to Book 101, Mr. Matthew. And can you please introduce more about yourself?
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm Canadian. I grew up on the east coast of Canada where I've lived for most of my life. And yeah, I had a average childhood. But when I went off to university, I started developing symptoms of schizophrenia. So that really took my life down a different path for a long time. I'm 53 now, but I got the disease at 22. Um, before I uh, Before the disease hit me, though, at 20, 2 years before I'd get the disease, I bicycled across Canada, and that trip kind of came out of nowhere. I wanted to do something fun with my life, and I did it. It was incredible. I had such a fun time. When the disease hit, though, that took my life down a completely different direction, and I was struggling for my life. I sort of have two audiences, two groups of people I talk to. One is people who are going through mental illness and know how difficult it can be. The other audience is people who haven't been through mental illness, and I try to tell them like how difficult it really is. But for the people going through it, I want to give them hope because it is possible to recover. I mean, nothing's guaranteed, but it is possible to recover. It is possible to decrease your symptoms, at least partially. In some cases, maybe the whole way. It is possible to get better. But I just want to let people know that it's not for schizophrenia. The disease isn't a death sentence. There are many people who do recover from the disease. I still take my medication. I'm not going to go off that. I'm not cured, but I am feeling pretty good in life. When I went into the hospital, I noticed an improvement in my mental health every single week after I got on the medication for many, many, many years. And in 2021, my symptoms one day just stopped. And yeah, it's so back though in so I mean that's sort of summing up a long recovery of 20 plus years, 30 years in one sentence, but I can talk more about that. But in 2017, I noticed this TED Talk, and it talked about mental health in developing countries. And I never researched that cause. I never uh, looked much into that, or I didn't look into that at all until I saw this TED Talk. And what I learned was that there are models of basic mental health care that are low cost, proven effective, and scalable. And the World Health Organization is trying to figure out the best way to roll them out to the masses. In the meantime, there's groups helping using these models of basic mental health care and helping thousands of people recover in developing countries from mental illness. So it's a vastly under-resourced cause, and I started researching it. And I learned that for the groups helping, the organizations using these models of basic mental health care, they're scattered across the web. And what I thought I could do was, well, why don't I make a website? Mindaid.ca is what I called it eventually. And I thought, why don't I put all these groups on one site so it'd be easy to help, easy to choose which group you'd want to donate to help someone with mental illness in a developing country. So I made the website in 2018, and yeah, so the last 15 years or so, there's been a lot more work in talking about mental health publicly, but it wasn't until 2020 when the world started to officially talk about mental health in public. It was blown wide open. And so when I made the website in 2018, it was still a little uncomfortable to talk about mental health in public. It was still somewhat hush hush. But now that we can talk about mental health in public, if there is ever a time when mental health in developing countries, this cause, could take off, it's now. If you tried to help someone with mental illness in a developing country in like 2000 or 1990 or 1980, we weren't allowed to talk about that. So we've been helping people with mental illness. Well, we've been helping people for all sorts of causes in developing countries for decades and decades, uh, drilling wells, building schools, sending mosquito bed nets, farming tools. But yeah, it's yeah. So I'm really excited about this website. I think of it as some of my life's work that I'll do, and I am happy to spend the rest of my life trying to help people who are suffering like me. I mean, I went through mental illness in Canada with more resources here, but yeah, my heart, as soon as I got the disease and the pain hit me, it was so painful. My heart went out to people with mental illness in developing countries or in extreme poverty, in war-torn countries. I thought, how did you do that? I felt like I was living in a war zone myself in a sleepy part of Canada with very little crime. I just felt like I was living in a war zone and that was all caused by the disease. So it's my heart just went out to people who had many more challenges to deal with than mental illness. And yeah, so it does me. I'm happy to promote this and be one of the many people helping, trying to help this cause.
Mr. Matthew Dickson, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world.
Thank you.
What are the biggest challenges in addressing mental health issues in developing countries?
The biggest challenges.
Yes.
There's still stigma associated with it in some places. It's and lack of resources. What happened was a man back in the 90s, a man by the name of Vikram Patel. This is the TED talk that I first saw that told me about the cause. He said, you know, we have models of basic physical health care for people. We've had these for decades, if not centuries, that tell people how to, where there's no hospital around for hundreds of miles, no doctors around, how do you treat a broken leg? How do you treat pneumonia? Sorry, pneumonia, that kind of thing. He said, why don't we do the same thing for mental health? So they did. They've got these models of basic mental health care that are low cost, proven effective, and scalable. And they basically what they do is there's different variations of the models. Um, One of the models is you go into a community that has that's struggling for mental health care there, and they handpick some of the people in the community who have some basic leadership skills or health skills, maternal health skills, that kind of thing, and they teach them how to deliver these models of basic mental health care to their own community members. So that's one way. Strong Minds, which works in Africa, strongminds.org, they've been another group. They use a radio to broadcast information about mental health on places where there's little communication structures, infrastructure. They use radio. That's a big one for spreading the messages around, saying, look, you can come here, come to our facility and get help if you're suffering. And teletherapy has also taken off with in recent years. So in Africa, for example, you can go and see a doctor remotely if you can't make the journey there yourself. So that's a new one too, mental health teletherapy. It's yeah.
Mr. Matthew, how do or what role can community based initiatives play in supporting mental health in these regions?
So I'm not really an expert in that. I've looked up into the cause. I look at myself more as a promoter for this cause. I don't, with my website, I don't um, physically help people themselves. The website, I found these groups. The website mindaid.ca is at its essence and essentially a curation site. I've put the nonprofits, the charities that are using these models of basic mental health care on the site, so people can go directly on their sites to donate and fundraise for them. I don't handle that money myself. So, sorry, I'm just getting over a bit of a cold. um, so I look at myself more as a promoter for this cause. I'm trying to make people more aware of the cause itself. And I found some of the statistics for the cause were a bit, what I tried to do is find some of the main things about the main points, the sound bites that I could help share for the cause. For example, some countries, sorry, I'm just a bit dry here, gotta get a bit of water.
Good. No worries.
Some of the statistics for the cause are some countries have only one psychiatrist per million people, an incredibly low number. And some people are actually kept in chains. They're living in extreme poverty. The people there don't know how to treat them, and they tie them to a tree, tie them to a bed with untreated mental illness as well. There's some big names that help promote these models of basic mental health care. For example, Robin Williams' son, Zach Williams, and Allison Janney, the Hollywood actress, they and Tim Shriver, founder of the Special Olympics, they help promote hashtag Break the Chains. There are hundreds of thousands of people in 60 countries who are kept in chains, but they've helped unchain many of these people. And you can go to the website, the Break the Chains website. The link's on my MindAid website, and you can sign the pledge there to help them. They're looking for more signatures. There's videos and things you can share on social media to help people be more aware of this. And some of the other nonprofits that you can donate to are like Strong Minds. They had Ashley Judd, the Hollywood actress and singer, promote narrate one of their promotional videos. Forrest Whitaker, the actor from Star Wars, his foundation helps Find Mind. Find Mind helps people with mental illness in Uganda. Bill Clinton and the band Arcade Fire, they help promote Partners in Health. They work in many countries and with mental health. And yeah, so there's some big names supporting these causes, and I'm trying to let people know that association with them is always good to let people, just donate more, fundraise more, that kind of thing.
Mr. Matthew, as a founder of MidAid, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Short term, I'm trying to do more podcasts and more speaking. Long term goals, they could be a number of things. For me with schizophrenia, I, one of the, well, I mean, not just schizophrenia, but me as a human being, lots of people struggle with this, is taking charge of a group of people, being the boss, hiring people, firing people, that kind of thing. I struggle with that somewhat. I do better as by myself, promoting the cause as a speaker, doing podcasts, that kind of thing, and I do better that way. But if anybody, I mean, maybe someday I will get more leadership skills and start my own charity to help people, to help fundraise for this cause. Maybe I will. I'm also encouraging people who have those skills right now to make MindAid a charity, or help make it more official, get more people behind it, have more people on the phone accepting donations, that kind of thing. That's one one thing I'd like to see in the future, because I think so many people would donate if they knew about the cause. A lot of
Yes.
people don't know about it, so yeah.
Well, good luck to your goals, Mr. Matthew, and looking forward for more success. And what would be your piece of advice for those people that don't want to be like you?
Well, one thing I do want to say is that in 2023, I bicycled across Canada again. I became the first person with schizophrenia to bike across Canada. So I've done it twice now. And There's a film about the ride. It's on my website, and if that can offer any inkling of hope to people suffering with it, it's yeah, it's that's one thing. The other thing is that there's a book. I mean, I've read tons of books on how to get myself better, and also how to advocate and build a website, get on social media, do media interviews. I've learned a lot of that stuff. To get myself better, I've read hundreds of books on that, like to get improve my mental health, my people skills. And but there's one book in particular that is just it's phenomenal, and I've been telling people about it for years. Just like,
Well, thank you for that advice, Mr. Matthew. And can you please
um,
recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
yeah, the book is The Survivor Personality, and it's a phenomenal book. It was written by Al Siebert, and Siebert, and he studied how people got through the Holocaust, natural disasters, cancer, alcoholism, all sorts of things, and how they thrived on the other side. And that book I've been sharing with people for years. It's so inspiring. He says so many people aren't taught how to survive difficult situations, how to face adversity, and but it's a skill you can learn and get better at, and you can also learn and get better at it before you're even faced with adversity. It's something you don't have to wait for adversity to learn how to do. People can build these skills so that when adversity does come, you're much better prepared for it. He also says that he says everyone has innate abilities inside themselves to survive. We just don't know how to use them. We don't know how to tap into them. So the book is it's so many tips in there. But one thing he says is that, for example, people with cancer, they fall into three groups. One group says when they get a diagnosis that they're going to die. One group says that this is it, my time is up, and I accept the fact that I'm going to die. The second group says, I'm going to fight this, doc. I'm going to listen to whatever you say, and I'm going to fight this disease. I'm going to try to get better. The third group, the survivors, say, I'm going to fight this, doc, but I'm going to listen to what you have to say, and I'm going to get a second opinion, and a third opinion, and a fourth opinion. I'm going to take my recovery into my own hands. Sometimes they're labeled as difficult patients because they say, no, you're not going to do that to me. I know my body better than anybody else. That's not going to happen. The other thing that he teaches in his book is that people who go through horrible things, they say, afterwards, when they're out and doing better, they've improved, they've grown, they say, I would never, ever, ever want to go through that again. But that was the best thing that could ever have happened to me. And there are people who go through horrible things and are once they're through it, they're happy. They're just very, very happy people. And it's yeah, just yeah, I can't recommend that book the most. Of all the books I've read, that is by far the one that's helped me just shift my mindset and improve and help get me better, help them get improve, help me in my recovery. It's yeah, and not just for mental illness. The book can help you get through anything, any kind of trauma or ordeal or adversity.
Mr. Matthew, how can we ensure mental health interventions are culturally sensitive and relevant?
I would leave that up to the groups doing the nonprofits that I've listed on my website. I would leave that up to them. That's something I can't really speak to. I'm not an expert in that. But if you go on their websites, they can talk about that. A lot of them use locally led groups in the area, and it's a lot about teaching them how to um, uh, give mental health care to their own people. It's yeah.
Mr. Matthew, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, my other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well, geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast, law 101 and mental health 101, love letters in third season, and Movie 101 review and Music 101 in fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. Mr. Matthew, what's your vision for the future of mental health care in developing countries?
Well, one idea I have is a concert. When I made the domain name Mind Aid, I thought, wait a minute, that could be maybe like a Band Aid or Live Aid, one of those mega concerts we had years ago. They just recently had Fire Aid in LA after the fires there. That's something I'm working on. And yeah, I'm thinking of maybe having it a virtual concert. I'd like to make it an annual concert. Those are my sort of dreams for that. But I'm open to suggestions and people to work with and that kind of thing, because that could raise millions of dollars for the cause.
Definitely. Wow, Mr. Matthew, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy or any projects that you're doing right now? And of course, your business itself.
Yeah, so you can follow me at Mind, MINDAID, mindaid.ca. I'm on many social media channels: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. One of the things I do steer people towards is my list of mental health tips on my site. That's the quickest way into my brain for ways to get yourself better mentally, all sorts of things. I'm very proud of that list. And I hope, I really encourage people to have a look at that, spend some time going through it. It took me 20 years to make, 20 plus years to make that list. And there's so many cool things on there to help improve your mental health.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Matthew Dickson, because if you support him, for sure, more and more and more empowering advocacy to come, more and more empowering business to come. So, Mr. Matthew, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate this.
More to come, people. See you soon.